3 minutes after the top of the hour. Greetings. Good evening. How the heck are you? Welcome in. Beyond Ringside goes back to basics on this 4th day of March 2014. Fastity Lane, live from Studio 1, also known as Beyond Ringside Studios, also known as the Full Range Entertainment Studios, also known as the Dyslexic Studios. I'll call it whatever the hell I feel like it this week. Like to welcome in tag team partner, Mark Mabo Bowman. What's up, Mabo?
Just stop standing around like a bunch of stone-footed roosters in a hump farm and get the show going.
That sounds more like what Triple H, Stephanie, and Kane were doing last night at the end of Raw.
I don't care what them three buttholes are doing.
You know, real quick before we get too far into it, thank you to everybody listening to this evening, courtesy BeyondRingside.com, as well as we are live on our Ustream feed. But for everybody,
hey, is that limey bastard listening in the chat room?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to get over there and see. There's your hell damn ass for the night.
There'll be, you limey son of a teetotal and biscuit eater. You better be listening. You're the only rating we get. If you ever quit listening, we have to go off the air.
We'll figure it out. You're going to love it. He's in the chat room. Just got there. Just like I did. Originally slated to be joined by a good friend of the family, Beyond Ringside Extended Family, Baron Von Awesome, Justin Rosenberg. Still waiting for that call-in to occur. And in about 25 minutes from right now, slated to be joined by professional wrestling star J.P. Magnum. Oh, wait a minute. We got Justin. Hold on. Come over here and pop the Skype line. And what's up, brother? How you been?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, fair to partly cloudy. Yep, longtime listeners will remember the voice of Baron Von Awesome. We decided to go back.
I'll go by that one. I changed it a few times.
Yeah, you changed it to Tide Von Awesome because of the fact that you moved up to Virginia. But the thing about it is, Baron Von Awesome still sounded better.
Can I go with Punk Von Awesome?
What are you going to be missing again for the next few months?
Wait, what?
Are you going to come up missing for the next couple of months?
Yeah, I'll be up in March. But it is March. I'll be up in like 3 weeks.
There you go. You were there last night at the Allstate Arena, right?
I was. I live a quarter mile away, so I just walk over. You can see it from my apartment.
Now, something that had been bandied about. I'm gonna go to both you and Mabo about this. By the way, Justin, Mabo, Justin, y'all remember each other?
Sure. How's it going?
No clue who this is.
Don't worry. Could have played it off.
Wait, isn't that one half of the Bagel Boys?
There you go.
I was a Bagel Boy? Is Bloom the other?
You and Bloom, yeah. Remember, you said that.
That's a Jew reference.
You said that.
I don't remember. I say a lot of things.
You and Bloom actually both said that.
Yeah. Well, I got the tribal reference, so we're good.
Do-doom-doom-ch. One of the things that I'd heard about by hitting the different sites and everybody on Twitter and Facebook and yada frickin' yada was the so-called hostile takeover or the hijacking of the show last night. Now, knowing you the way I do, Justin, you would be the first one to sit back, point, and laugh at everybody making an ass out of themselves. Mabo, of course, would be 1A in that regard.
Yeah, I guess I've changed.
And the question... The question is, where did everybody go to? There were assorted CM Punk and We Want Punk references, but they didn't get nearly as loud as I know that the Allstate Arena can, dude. Or was it louder
I don't
in person?
know what everyone expected. I really don't. I mean, yeah, hijack, riot, those are pretty strong words, but did people expect fans to storm the ring? I mean... You want to know that if a match got hijacked, go back and watch the Christian Sheamus match.
And talk about a hijacking. Try getting Triple H and Stephanie on the microphone. You sent me a message last night asking was their promo as inaudible on television as it was in the arena, because you said it was completely drowned out live, right?
I didn't know that Stephanie McMahon was talking until I looked at the Titantron and saw her lips moving. I remember I was sitting there like, why is no one talking? Like it was dead air. Couldn't hear her. Didn't know she was talking.
And Mark, how much of the show did you catch from last night, or are you still going back over the DVR?
No, I caught all of it. I mean, but it wouldn't be the first time Stephanie's lips were moving and nobody was talking, if you know what I'm saying.
Other than low guttural noises, right?
Yeah, I know. I guess if Randy Savage was still alive, we could ask him about that.
Okay.
Going far with this one.
Now, from the live perspective, what was the high point of the show for you?
From a fan perspective, the high point of the show was the Shield match. I've been to a lot of shows, mostly in Chicago, too, where we usually get good shows. And that's probably the best match I've ever seen live, ever. And I was at the Edge Foley match, which everyone says was fantastic, and I never felt that. But this Shield match was ridiculous in the crowd.
Mabo, from a television perspective, for you personally, what was the better match of the night?
Oh, I mean, I have to agree. Definitely the Shield Wyatt match, especially with the opening, a few minutes with Seth Rollins, bouncing around like a Super Ball, landing on his feet in the ring, boom, over, landing on his feet, boom, over, landing on his feet, kick, boom, boom, and then the whole match in general, and then even the ending was very well played out. Nobody expected that. I definitely have to give it to that. I mean, I actually kind of posted about 5 to 10 minutes before Raw came on the air, on Twitter, something along the lines of, would it surprise anybody if, WWE played CM Punk's music just to get the pop and then be jerk faces and he didn't come out, and we saw what happened.
Well, with Vince himself saying that Punk is technically on a sabbatical, and I think that's his way of saying our back's against the wall and we're trying to figure a way to work it out without having to eat a crap sandwich. I knew that the Heyman promo was going to get everybody. And amazingly enough, the fans worked perfectly around that. Is it just the fact that, Justin, from your perspective, the fans in Chicago respect Paul Heyman more than they do just about anybody else on the roster?
I mean, there's two things about that. First off, I've never understood why everyone boos Paul Heyman but chants ECW. I never understood that, but yeah, I think there's definitely a respect level there. I mean, he's really the guy that created the Attitude Era, if you want to go there.
Well, yeah.
And, there's definitely a respect level. People just like to boo him, and you can make it cheer him if you want. But from another perspective, I'll tell you what, no one in that crowd thought they would play CM Punk's music if they weren't going to deliver Punk. Once they played his music, we knew it wasn't going to be him. We knew it was going to be someone else. But that they had the balls to do it, we figured, well, they have to give us a payoff. He has to show up at some point now, or else why are they doing this?
Personally, now, both of you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. By leading off the way they did, that lets everybody know, yes, we know what you want. Yes, we understand what you want. But guess what? You're not going to get it. Throughout the course of the night, there were 4 segments in which he could have made an appearance. And I knew that if they led with the music, it wasn't going to happen. WWE...
We felt the opposite. Everyone in my section were all like, all right, they wouldn't play it if he wasn't here.
Remembering the fact that they have the rights to Cult of Personality for as long as they can, as long as Triple H feels like paying it, and Punk technically is still under contract with WWE, they can run that teaser all day long. And I think it would be funnier if he showed up on SmackDown tonight during the tapings.
I think that makes him heel in Chicago.
I
think that almost makes him a heel in Chicago.
I don't know if it makes him a heel now. Mabo, correct me if you think I'm wrong. If they manage to get things worked out yesterday, last night, early today, and he comes out in whatever city they're in tonight for the taping. Do you think? Wait a minute. First off, Mabo, do you think that makes him a heel in Chicago if he waited till tonight to come out?
No, because they're not going to do it. I mean, there's no way Punk they will literally hold him over a week. That's like saying if they came to a deal, would he show up on, NXT? I mean, what the crap, dude? They're going to save it for Raw. You know, they want that. You know, because I mean, if he comes on a SmackDown, first of all, everybody's going to know about it, and
that gets ratings up.
You know, but I mean, they want that natural pop. They don't want anybody to sit there and think, oh, well, they sweetened it for TV. You know, they want that undeniable live pop. And the reason why they led with that is not, you know, to shove it in the fans' face or whatever. They did it because they knew that the fans, if they didn't make some kind of major acknowledgement at the get-go, the onset of Raw, then it would have probably been far worse. I mean, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if they would have had anybody storming the ring or anything, but I think they might as well just have shut off the audio feed and just showed nothing but the video. But that's why they did it, was to go ahead. And the other reason why...
That's why they...
I was going to say, if you notice, AJ wasn't on there because they were trying to keep the Punk chance down to a minimum, because everybody knows where his penis is going, and it's in 3 of her holes, so...
Justin, come on in.
They did a really good job of controlling the crowd last night. Anyone that thinks that Dave Meltzer report wasn't planted by the WWE is just naive. They absolutely planted it. They weren't going to stop. There was nothing they could do last night that was going to stop the Punk chants from being louder in Chicago than they normally would be somewhere else. I mean, that was going to happen. There's a difference between fans chanting for a guy they think they're going to see and chanting on a spite.
True. Normally, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and just by acknowledging, by planting a report that he was going to be there, it changed the narrative of what the fans were feeling.
I think that if he were to actually have walked through that curtain last night to give everybody what they wanted, first off, the ratings would have immediately gone up probably by 30% within the first 30 seconds of him being on camera. Because with everybody on social media, of course, everybody knows that Raw and WWE, some of the most socially active programs that are out there. And from my vantage point, I think I kind of said this a minute ago, but I want to lay this point down again and see who agrees and who disagrees. It's almost a case of they played the music and they gave the fans Heyman and Lesnar, and it kind of diffused a lot of what was being done. Because I think had they not started with his music and given them Heyman in the way that they did, I think it would have been a lot louder and a lot more raucous in that building. Justin, I'll ask you first.
I mean, that's a good point. I do think that what's not shown on camera, which may come out when Superstars airs, crowds, especially in Chicago, we tend to wear ourselves out in the first 45 minutes of the gates being open. I mean, that crowd, you could hear it from outside the building before the show. I mean, I walked in at 6:05, whatever, and you could hear it. They did an interview with those Matadors, whatever, guys with the bowl, who, it's more of a push than Daniel Bryan in the Royal Rumble match. And I couldn't hear them. Like, that was Superstars. So, I don't know, I think we wore ourselves out. And yeah, I guess to an extent, they probably diffused it a little bit by playing his music and having Heyman come out.
Mabo, your thoughts?
Well, it's like I just said 2 minutes ago. The reason why they played the music was to go ahead and, acknowledge it. Because if they didn't acknowledge it, then it would have been worse. And, I mean, and from what I'm hearing, what Heyman said to what was, originally scripted, he changed. He didn't change a lot, but he tweaked a lot of stuff. And, not to the point to where, he's going to get in trouble, but I mean, there's only one guy that could have came out besides Punk to Punk's music and gotten a positive response, and that is Paul Heyman. I mean, everybody knows Punk and Heyman are close. Heyman helped Punk a lot. When he got up to OVW, helped him a lot to get him on the roster. So, and, Punk stated many times that he considers Heyman, a confidant and all that stuff. So, what better way? And, Heyman didn't run Punk down or anything. He came out there, said what he had to say. Literally, you could say it sounded almost like Heyman was speaking from the heart.
Yeah.
And then, he kind of flipped it around, towards the end to get the reaction he needed by saying, Punk left because of all of you. They could have easily. Actually on the network, I've got like 2 or 3 minutes left, but I was watching the latest or the last I guess Stone Cold documentary or whatever. And, it's talking about how when he left and Vince came out and said Stone Cold, had, talking about he took the ball and went home. They could have easily had Heyman do that. They could have easily had Heyman come out and say, Punk came out and, he took the ball and went home. But he didn't. Heyman said what he had to, spoke from the heart, and then flipped it like only Paul Heyman can.
Yeah.
And got the reaction he wanted from the crowd. And, put the focus on the, I guess, the real beginning of the show, if you want to say that.
And for me personally, I was watching, and last night was a tale of two Raws. As we're going 20 minutes after the hour on this 4th day of March, Fast Eddie Lane, Mark Mabo Bowman, Justin Rosenberg, Baron Von Awesome, on this Back to Basics Tuesday night. The first, I would say, 100 minutes of the show had a certain feel to it. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, we get to the backside of the second hour, and everything shifts. It does not have the same feel as the first half. And then, honestly, going just before the start of the third hour, I felt like I was watching TNA Junior. Or TNA Senior, take your pick on the terminology. Because
felt like I was watching it.
Yeah, really. It's why did we have so many yak segments? Why did they feel the need to go ahead and the only thing they really used to break it up was Swagger Big E, which turned out to be Cesaro getting Swagger disqualified. It's like, okay, I know why you're doing this. I see why you're doing this. You're trying to set this up and you're trying to, play the game on this, and that's fine. But it's just like they ran way too many microphone segments and not enough in-ring for the second half of the show. Agree or disagree, Mabo?
Well, first of all, it was Cesaro, Big E, with Swagger getting him disqualified.
Right, that was in the first half of the show.
Both.
They did both. The first half of the show. Go ahead.
Wait, who did Swagger take on?
Swagger took on Big E later in the show during the third hour.
That must have been my regulated 30-minute blackout period.
Yeah, we were just as confused by it.
Because, I just remember waking up or looking at it, and I saw them hug, and then I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, yeah, there was, I don't know, dude, but I agree with the whole, just the whole different feel. Like, it was, even if you go back and watch it in DVR, especially if you DVR and go back and watch it,
yeah,
it just, everything's just like, it's like almost like the air was let out. So, I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely, and from what I heard, they didn't do the ratings they were looking for either.
No, far from it. It's like last night. The crowd, from what I could see on television, was absolutely into the New Age Outlaws Usos match. And when the Usos went over with the belts, kaboom, they got their props when they got the belts finally. Right, Justin?
Oh, yeah. No, at that point, it turned into a wrestling show. And, fans were all over the Usos.
And this is the moment where everybody's saying, okay, we see Eddie getting ready to do this. I was so damn happy that they finally got those belts.
I can't believe they didn't wait till Mania. I thought that's where it was going. I don't understand the Outlaws anymore, or their role in things. But
well, I think that they did a good job of milking the storyline the way that they had done it between the Usos and the New Age Outlaws. It's like Screwjob, okay, get Screwjob knockout, get your way back in. Here we go, title match. And I think this was the perfect night to have given the WWE Universe, the fan base of WWE, a title change, especially being in Chicago. I really think with everything coming out of the first segment, they still have the waters tested, and I'm pretty sure they may have flipped a couple of other things throughout the course of the night. That wouldn't surprise me in the least. But to go ahead and give Chicago a title change, the tag team titles, and give the Usos their first run with the belt starting in Chicago, I think the fans there were very receptive of it. Mabo, did you catch that when you were watching it?
if I know that the Usos are going to be on TV, you know I'm going to watch it, dude. Come on now. Don't be ridiculous. But actually, I think they were supposed to win it last Monday night, but then they were trying to stack as much as they could in Chicago to appease the fans, keep the Punk chants down. That's why we got the Elimination Chamber rematch. That's why you got the between the Shield and the Wyatts. That's why you got the Outlaws and the Usos. And at one point they had Taker Lesnar confrontation part 2 penciled in. They had Hogan penciled in because they were literally trying to stack everything they could to keep the crowd, appeased and the carrots.
Nice touch. I mean, it's like even going into the Big E Cesaro match. Look, I have to say this. That nice fair catch rule that Cesaro called and nailed. I mean, granted, the second half of that going up to the shoulder was Cesaro and Big E. But that original catch and start of reposition, that was all Cesaro. And, dude, major freaking props. Because for those who, I think all three of us are very familiar with the name Claudio Castagnoli. Last night, Cesaro looked more like Claudio to a great degree because of the basics that he was working under against Big E. Big E Langston. I don't care if WWE feels that it's not masculine enough. Good God. Stupidity abounds in Stamford, Connecticut. I mean, going to it, the crowd went huge from my television side when Cesaro made that catch on Langston and got ready for that major move. I mean, what was the air like over there in the Allstate Arena, Justin?
We were from the moment they hit CM Punk's music, we were wrestling fans. We weren't there to hijack it. We were there to watch a wrestling show, thinking our guy was coming out eventually, waiting for it. After I think the Cesaro match was that after the Usos and before the Shield.
Correct.
We were in it. I mean, like you said, the show took a turn after the first 90 minutes or whatnot. We were in it at that point. That was a ridiculous move.
Now, Mabo, I think off air you were talking about the factor that you were quite a little bit surprised at the fact that they used Rollins for the one to put the dividing line in the middle of the Shield on that one, right?
Well, just more the fact that it seems like he was almost playing the the kid who's mad at his parents, for fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just literally just stormed up there, and I mean, great acting by him as far as portraying how torn he was to whether he wanted to come back and make the save or not at the end. So, I mean, but yeah, it's just you would expect for either one to walk out if the two main guys fighting, right, Reigns or Ambrose. So to see Rollins just be like, you know what, I'm tired of you two, get it together. And then big props to freaking Luke Harper diving through the middle ropes and stuff. That's a big boy to be sending through.
True. Honestly, I think that you were talking about your celebrated 30-minute blackout. I actually had that similar situation because I had Raw on one television and Return of the Jedi on another television. I didn't even know the Bella Twins and Oksana and Alicia had a match last night.
We couldn't hear Oksana talking in the Titantron. We know what she said because she whispered it.
She was saying something about riding Ron Paul or whatever.
Yeah, I think I saw that I eventually watched some of it. Yeah, I think I turned to someone. I said, "Oh, that's what she said. She challenged him to a match." But yeah, we had no idea. That match was terrible.
Yeah, well, kind of like the mixed tag match: Summer Rae, Fandango, Emma, and Santino. Look.
Yeah, but we'll always watch Summer Rae. Who cares? That can stay.
I got tickled because a friend of mine sent me a text last night going, "Here come them damn bubbles again." It's like, it's a gimmick. Let it go.
Again, I can't say this enough about that Raw crowd last night. They were brilliant to not only make everyone think Punk was coming, which controlled everything, but to have that final segment where even until the last second, it felt like he could come out at any moment.
Yeah, I felt that during the Daniel Bryan Batista match.
Because when he didn't come out, everyone in that arena was pissed.
It's kind of like
everyone felt like they had just thrown away their chance to tell the WWE how they felt. We'd all been played, and we were pissed.
Maybe that's why they fed y'all John Cena.
Let me ask you this, Justin. Did you see any... I mean, because from what I've heard, up until Chicago, if you had a CM Punk sign, it got taken. If you had a CM
Everyone
Punk
had them up. Everyone had a Punk sign.
Well, but no,
they were not taken.
But did you... Obviously, by what was shown on TV, but was there any other kind of incidents, out of the norm? Because, we always witness the normal crowd things, the fights, issues with security, but... Anything else out of the norm? Like maybe did you spot somebody trying to rush the ring, or
no one trying to rush the ring. A couple fans got hit with a monitor, but
thank you, Brock Lesnar.
I can't believe that wasn't shown on TV. But I know you heard lawsuit chants. They were a little scattered during the Lesnar segment. When he ripped the table, he threw one of the first monitor he threw. He threw it through the ropes at the middle of the ring, went through the ropes on the other side and into the fourth row.
I missed that part. I'm going to have to go back and look.
Yeah, you don't actually see it. I went back and watched. You do not see it. It happens, though. And if you listen, you can hear, maybe 100 people chanting lawsuit. I mean, it's audible, but you have to be listening for it.
You're right. Because things get blended in when the crowd starts going ballistic in different areas, unless you're right near an active microphone on a camera, because they're not using the parabolic dishes that the NFL use. Thank God. Mm-hmm. If they were using those dishes, everybody'd be in trouble. They'd just be going beep, 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 Morse code. Real quick, before we go to the bottom of the hour break, and folks, hang with us because, like I said, when we come back from break, we're going to be joined by the magnificent JP Magnum right here on Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. Have not had a chance to ask you real quick. Are you doing? Have you already subscribed to the network, or are you waiting on it?
Oh, yeah. I've wasted my $60 for a network that does not work. Whatever.
What's been the main problem with it? It's just stutter, stagger? Is it internet connection? Is it what?
It's not internet connection because Netflix and all the other streaming devices work. It's if you try to watch a show, whatever. First off, the content library, I don't get it. It's nowhere near as good as people say. Yeah, you can watch every pay-per-view. I know they never said Nitro was going to be on there, but it was kind of a hope that it would be. It's not. Every Raw the last 2 years up until the start of this year is on there. But then before that is one or two Raws from 95, 4 Raws from 93, 2 Raws from 98. I mean, it's nothing. And every time you try to play something, it plays for about 3 minutes, and then it craps out on you and has to reload itself. And then it reloads itself, and it starts about 30 seconds after where you stopped watching.
Right.
You have to rewatch that 30 seconds. You get another 2 minutes. It stops. 30 seconds back. You get 2 more minutes. It's just awful.
Other than the glitch that a lot of people had during NXT Arrival, and then last Tuesday night, I haven't had any issues. I mean, I've been watching it since about 3 or 4 o'clock today. I've had no issues.
I've been watching the Royal Rumble 95 since last Wednesday.
And haven't made it all the way through yet?
No, I haven't.
Weird. Okay. This, of course, is why I'm waiting till after WrestleMania, because I'm sorry, I'm not giving them a dime before Mania hits. I think that the March...
Don't give them a dime then, because Mania is going to be a bomb.
That's why I'm waiting till the day after Mania, because that's just me on this one. It's the road to Mania has been a complete and total dud so far. I'm going to use one of my favorite words that originated on this show through Adam Smith, the man called Evil. The road to WrestleMania has been lackluster at best at this point.
Lackluster at best. Oh my God. I would say garbage at best. You didn't even let me get into my Daniel Bryan Triple H rant, and trust me, I've been working on that one.
Well, tell you what,
that match makes no sense.
Can I bring you back in a little bit later in the night? Can I give you a call back?
Yeah, give me a text.
Tell you what, cool, because we're about to go to the bottom of the hour break. Folks, do me a favor. Actually, you just heard Justin. He'll be back with us a little bit later in the show. Mabo, you want to hang, or are you going to go back to cold medicine?
I think I'm going to go throw up ridiculous amounts of mucus.
Okay. Throw a shameless plug out real quick.
I got a mucus plug stuck in my freaking head. How about that? How about that for your freaking plug?
Not to mention the fact, MA_BO.
Don't start that crap. I don't need freaking these idiots that listen to the show bugging the hell out of me for any damn reason.
You love them and you know it.
Honestly, I can't. I can't stand them.
Okay.
I want to teabag Daryl B, but that's about it.
Mabo does more heel turns and face turns than most people could ever dream about, and he does it all in the course of 2.5 minutes.
Oh, I hate these people.
Folks, we're going to the bottom of the hour break. When we come back, going to be joined by the magnificent JP Magnum right here on Back to Basics.
This is Country Jack, Corey Hollis, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Jacoby Boykins, a.k.a. the Alabama Ambassador, Mr. 256, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
A very special evening with Dave Matthews Band. 2 unique sets featuring acoustic and full band performances. Dave Matthews Band live.
Oh, mercy, will we overcome this? Oh, have we come too far to turn it around?
Friday, May 23rd, 7 p.m., Oak Mountain Amphitheater. Don't miss Dave Matthews Band performing 2 sets. Tickets on sale now. Buy tickets at livenation.com or charge by phone at 800-745-3000.
Yes, I will call this
Friday, May 23rd, 7 p.m., Oak Mountain Amphitheater. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens. You're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside. And you are a better person for it.
20 minutes before the top of the hour on this 4th day of March. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside. Back to basics on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Want to take a moment to remind everybody, of course, you can find replays of recent interviews and complete episodes on the media page at beyondringside.com. Also, beyondringside.podomatic.com is our primary podcast site. And of course, you can find us on iTunes. It is just that easy. The Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Study Lane, live from Studio 1 on this Tuesday night live event. Like to welcome in for the Tuesday night conversation, longtime friend and colleague, the magnificent JP Magnum. JP, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for that introduction. I'd like to tell all your listeners, JP is still around. He's just been busy other places. So I want to take time just to say hi to, shout out to my boy Teddy Tutwiler and Howard Seacross. I hadn't seen them in a while, but into GCW Nation. So how have you been, Eddie?
It's been crazy, and actually right now you're talking to over 40 countries, to be honest with you.
Oh, man. You've got got a little bit, you've grown a little bit since the last time I've talked to you.
Well, there's a little bit of a difference between Beyond Ringside and GCW Radio, which, of course, I think you were with me on during the infancy of the show. But this is the original article as we do the Tuesday Night Back to Basics program. Of course, we are still live on Sunday nights, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live. Now, if I could, there are always two moments for everybody, no matter what line of work, no matter what sport you get involved in, no matter what business you get involved in, especially for us in wrestling. And the first moment is when you become a fan of professional wrestling in and of itself. And the second moment being when the little light bulb goes off over your head and you hear that little voice go, dude, we got to do this. Come on. For JP Magnum, what are those two moments?
Oh, my first moment, well, I grew up in the part of wrestling, excuse me, I've been a little under the weather.
It's okay.
But Saturday night's main event, one night, I don't remember what year it was, I just remember being up with my dad, and he was flipping through the channels, and it was on. And I asked him to turn it back, and he knew as soon as he turned it back, I was going to be hooked. Because my grandfather really likes it. All my grandfathers on each side, great grandfathers, they loved doing it, or watching it, excuse me. And then, so after that, it was just, that's all I could think about. Me and my friends even drew magazines up and stapled them together and just, got hooked on it. And then my epiphany where I thought I could do it was when I went and watched my first live show. And that actually, I don't know, people know this guy, but Dirty White Boy Jimmy Powell used to tag up with Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony, USWA, and worked for Continental and all those. He used to be from where I grew up, small hometown in Georgia, Lafayette, Georgia, when I grew up. And he had a live show there at his auction house that his dad used to run. And he had Nightmare Ted Allen, and they were in the main event.
Oh, yeah.
I think David San Martino was there and a couple of other guys. It was just after that I was like, man, they can do it. I can do it. And so my dad's back porch, my mom and dad's back porch became my wrestling ring, as that's where we all end up. But my mom loves me now. The porch ended up becoming just destroyed from all the wrestling matches me and my cousins and stuff had. But my best friends, now she has a screened-in porch. So I guess I did her some good by having a dream to be a wrestler.
Now, as far as it goes, you could have gone ahead and just put up a steel cage around the porch, and you could have had a cage match.
Yeah.
Instead of the screen.
I think my mom would kill me now that she finally got her screened in porch.
Now, when it came time to, who did you seek out as far as training?
Well,
or who do you give the credit? Go ahead.
What's that?
I was going to say, who do you give the credit or the blame for starting you out training in the ring?
Well, I was kind of a, I guess you could say Hans 57, but, when I first started, my friends and I, there was all these little small shows. They used to call them outlaw shows. And, there were some legit guys there. There were some guys that weren't that great. But they started getting into it, and I kind of was training with them but not really training, and I really wanted to do it. So I ran into a guy. His name was Nick Rampage. Well, you know him as my tag partner. See, my best friend from school was Adam Jacobs and another guy named Troy Dotson, and they'd already got into it. And like I said, I was training with them, and I met Nick, and he said, well, I've got to work out. Just come train with me. Well, his best friend was Ray Gordy, Gary Gordy's son. And Gary was there working out, doing some sessions and stuff. So I started training with Nick, and then Ray had just got in the business, been in there a year or so, and I started training with him. And then Gary would give me some pointers and stuff. And then after a few months, it was just like I hit the road running, and me and Nick and Ray ended up, doing the Free Birds rules wherever we went. Because every time we had Ray with us, everybody had to do the Free Birds rules all the time. But that's where I got most of my knowledge from. And then I became friends with Ted Allen and Jimmy Powell, and they just kind of were my mentors in the business. Couldn't have had any better mentors than those guys. They were great.
Do you remember your first match?
Oh, yeah. My first match was in Lebanon, Tennessee. And it was funny because it was actually, I was helping coach a wrestling, this was when I was just fresh out of high school. But I was still helping coach the high school wrestling team up there. And so we decided, since I was training and stuff, we'd just put a match together. And we went to Actually, I think we Air Paris and Colorado Kid Mike Rapadas, who we ended up renting the ring from and getting it all together, and we had some of the teachers involved in it and stuff. And that was my first match. Now, my first actual match where there was an actual show and everything was big. The first three matches, I ended up with this guy. I ended up getting hit with a kendo stick my first night. A fireball thrown in my face. The second one, I think they threw. I mean, they just put me through the ringer.
Now, loaded question: do you still get nervous after all this time?
Yeah, to an extent, especially if I'm working somebody new. I mean, when you're on the road a lot, it's just you don't get into the, you don't get settled. I mean, you're just in there and doing a spot here and a spot there, but you're wrestling different people, and that's the kind of stuff I like doing. Is if I can find somebody that we can get in there and do some good stuff, and it kind of challenges you. Hey, how can I do this? What can I? It doesn't make it just dull as staying in one spot. And not saying I didn't enjoy my time in GCW, but it was. But it's great sometimes being out on the road because it spices things up a little bit. Because like I said, you get different people each week.
Now, knowing the fact that you've been in a lot of different areas, what is one of your favorite cities or some of your favorite cities to work or areas in which you've worked?
Well, I found that some of the most passionate fans have got to be in the Tennessee, like through Middle Tennessee, up in Knoxville. Memphis is real good, and especially in Birmingham and around running with GCW. Those guys are just passionate. They still message me today on Facebook. When are you coming back? What are you doing? West Virginia was good. I think that's where some of the hillbillies came from. Because those guys, man, they take it really serious. But I'd have to say my favorite town would have to be Birmingham area and Nashville.
Now, we work together at indoor shows, at community centers, civic centers. We've also worked together at outdoor shows. Which is which legitimately for you is more of a challenge, working indoors or outdoors, depending on the circumstance?
Well, it's not the venue; it's the crowd. And I mean, you could noise-wise, I guess you could say outdoors would be harder because you don't feel like the crowd might be into it as much because it doesn't feel like they're on top of you as much as some of the other buildings that you get in. It's like enclosed and it's real loud. You might have 400 people there, but it sounds like 1,000 or more. But I don't know. It's just to me, the challenge is just being out there and getting the crowd interested in it. It's not actually the venue.
Now, based on where you are right now, and based on where do you want to see yourself in 10 years in pro wrestling?
I don't know. I mean, right now I'm getting my master's. Get to that point where, I'm enjoying it, and I've got a couple WWE tryouts and stuff like that. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work out. But I've done more than I can. People said I would do, and if it comes down to it, 10 years, maybe I could be helping run a show or just passing on my knowledge. I mean, I don't know. I don't honestly see myself in 10 years wrestling, but just you never know where life's going to take you.
The phone rings. It's your favorite promoter in the world. Don't mention any names, but they're asking you to work blank. And the first thing that pops into your head is, this is going to be a good night. Who do you fill in that blank with?
An individual?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, like I've been on the road, you get blessed to work with some good people. I mean, Chase Stevens, Micah Taylor, Bordell Walker, Matt Boyce. I mean, all those guys are good. Chris Michaels. I mean, when you get in the ring with one of those guys, it's like taking the night off,
Now,
but you come down to it though. Some of the most fun I had was with Teddy. We just had that chemistry, and even the bad match, we might think it was bad, but the crowd was still into it. It was still a lot of fun to me. So.
Now, you lead me perfectly into my next question. Thank you for the setup, because I've known you as a singles competitor, and I've known you as a tag team competitor. Do you look at singles and tag matches the same way, or do you have a preference? Do you like working singles over tag or vice versa?
It just depends on who you got a tag team. I mean, if you trust the guy that's in the corner, then tag teams can be some of the greatest stuff. That's what's a shame about this wrestling business now. It's like there's not that many tag teams. They just put together two singles wrestlers and stuff like that. But I mean, me and Teddy, we could do singles at any time. We had success in singles, but we had good chemistry, and we trusted each other. It made it a strong tag team. So there for a while, I was just spoiled by being in tag teams. But I could do both.
Now, let me go ahead and say this. I'll bring everybody up to speed. For those who don't know who he's referring to by the name Teddy, a coworker, colleague, and good friend of both of ours is named Theodore Tutwiler III. Of course, JP teamed up with him as part of the Moneymakers, as also former GCW tag team champions here in the state of Alabama and the southeastern U.S. If you get a chance to, look him up. I do believe you might be able to find some footage that is still out there. I think that I might actually have some that needs to go up on the web of the Moneymakers. Now, before the Moneymakers, you were part of a tag team called the Playmakers, right?
Yes, that was kind of a three-man tag team. It was me and Adam Jacobs and Nick Rampage. Of course, me and Nick had been tagged in all kinds of different gimmicks. We were the master structure at one time. But you were talking about videos. There's actually Pierce, the camera guy that used to come to all the shows.
Right, David.
Pierce, he actually put the best of the Moneymakers. It was almost like an hour and a half or more long.
Nice.
From our time at GCW up on YouTube. So
I need to find this.
Yeah, I just found that the other day. I don't think he's had it up there that long.
Very cool. I'm going to have to check it out. Now, what would you classify right now the craziest match you've ever been a part of?
Oh, God. I've got this one on film myself. If I can get it off of VHS and put it on DVD, I might put it on YouTube. But I was in a three-way dance hardcore match. And let's just say I bled a little too much, more than I needed to. I was a little dizzy by the end of that match, but I found out that wasn't my cup of tea.
We make the reference, and you kind of alluded to it a minute ago. I want to bring this into play, and I'd like to get a little bit more in depth on this one. Based on what I've seen, working around different promotions, watching different promotions as they air their stuff on television and on the web, seeing what's happened with the promotions that have national television exposure. Noting, of course, ROH tries to keep a relatively strong tag team division. WWE is breaking theirs apart yet again, and nobody knows what the hell's going on Thursday nights. But taking a look around, and I hate to use the term the indies, but everybody seems to respond to that word. And you've got some companies that know how to do it, and other companies that seem like they struggle sometimes. Is genuine tag team wrestling, in your opinion, a lost art? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
Well, I think it's a lost art on the mainstream, like WWE, and of course I haven't plugged into TNA. I don't know what they have right now, but on the indies, if you've got the right mix, you've got some pretty good. It's becoming a lost art, sad to say, because just the psychology of, hey, what you can do. Oh, he didn't see that. You did see that. It's just a fun thing to have, and the crowd really gets into it. And I think Vince, people like that have lost what really sells and gets people into the stuff. Just the nuances and stuff they used to do back in the old days. I say old days, but 80s and 90s. They're not that old, but still, I think from that time frame, in the past 15 years, they've just lost the art of psychology. Everybody's got to be cookie cutters. You can't have a guy that's this size. You can't have a guy that's this size. You can't have two guys with one unified, gimmick. It's just mind-boggling how much it's changed in the past few years.
Based on conversations and situations that you and I have both been a part of in recent days or recent months on social media, I want to get your perspective about social media and pro wrestling. Help or hindrance?
I think that's a little bit of both worlds, because you get your name out there, you get connected with people. I mean, from Oregon to Boston, West Virginia. I mean, you can just talk to them. It's just as simple as, talking to them what you're saying. And it helps you sell your product, and get yourself out. But at the same time, there's some crazy, crazy fans that want to just find everything out about you. And you got to watch yourself and watch the ones that are close to you and stuff like that, because there are some odd, just for the lack of a better word, sickos out there.
Yeah, as far as, for on the plus side of it, marketing, definitely. I tell people point blank, if you're going to try to get your name out there on social media, you have got to be shameless. Because if you type something in, depending on how many people follow you on Facebook, depending on how many people are your friend on Facebook, or even on Twitter.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, you kind of broke up there for a second. What was that last one?
Welcome to the wonderful world of the internet. That happens. Trust me, I'm used to it. As far as marketing goes, if you put something out there at 8:56 p.m. Central Time on a Tuesday night, chances are by 10:56 p.m. no one will know that it was out there unless they actually follow your page and go to it, or as I like to say, stalk your page.
Yes, I've had that before. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Now, you made a reference to YouTube and a video that was out there about the moneymakers, and I want to go ahead and expound on this a little bit further. In this day and age, when you've got Facebook video, MySpace video, you've got you've got Vine that you can put snippets up there, you've got YouTube and Daily Motion, is there any excuse in this day and time not to have full videos of yourself out of any? If you want to succeed, do you not need to have videos of yourself out there in full matches?
Oh, yeah, and you've got to watch what's been put out there, too. I mean, that's why now you can't take a day off. You go somewhere, and it might be a small show or something, and you're just there to make a buck. You go and, go half butt and don't do anything. Then it ends up on YouTube, and you don't put forth the effort. You've got to always work and do your best and be on your best, because it's just like you said, anybody can post anything. I mean, I've had people message me and say, hey, I saw you in a good match the other night. There was so-and-so. I was like, man, that was filmed. Who was filming that?
Who filmed that crap? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I've had people put short videos of stuff that I've said on a microphone before on the internet. I'm sitting back going, I didn't see anybody with a camera. Holy crap. Got to watch my mouth sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, you make a reference to working on the master's degree. How close are you on that?
Well, I'm after this class, I've got a couple weeks left of this one, and I've got 2 more, and I'm done. Finally. I'm actually proud of myself. They can't say that all wrestlers are dumb jocks. I've got a 3.3, so.
Nice. Hypothetical question, or this may be a real question. Noting what we talked about it off air, about which direction you're going as far as the master's degree goes. And you also made an allusion a little bit earlier about possibly lending your expertise and your mindset to the front office and running a promotion. As it goes with fronting a promotion, do you think that in this day and age that people are genuinely up to speed about the headaches that goes? I mean, you and I have a clue. We both know. But do you think a lot of people genuinely know about the headaches that go behind the scenes to try to put a show together?
No, because you and I both know that, even myself, I'm guilty of this. Wrestling is full of divas, basically. I mean, egos and, well, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. Everybody on a bad day has been like that, no matter who they are. And if they say they haven't been, they're lying. But that's the point, is just getting all these different personalities and everything to gel, and then making sure you surround yourself with some people that you can trust, that are not out for their ulterior gain, because too many cooks can spoil the stew. You know what I mean? If you got them involved in the wrong people in the wrong places.
I've often said that a locker room can be either the greatest team that you're a part of, or it can also be the most destructive place attitudinally. Agree or disagree?
What was that? You kind of broke. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Keeping out a little bit.
The locker room can either be the greatest team to be a part of or the most destructive thing for an attitude.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, because the first locker room I was really in for a long time, they always had a saying, don't step on the foot that's connected to the butt that you're going to have to kiss later. And also, remember the people that you pass on the way up, because they'll be the same people you pass on the way down. You know, and it was just a family locker room. ECW was a family locker room. But I've been in some locker rooms where people just thought that they were great and they didn't want to hang out with nobody, talk to anybody. And how can you build trust in people, you know, if you don't have that, you know, kind of a friendship or family bond, you know?
Other than working on the master's degree, give me 5 words that describe J.P. Magnum away from the ring.
Oh, 5 words? This drives me. Oh, man.
Away from the ring.
Goofy. Determined. Oh, man. Hardworking, of course, that's in the ring and out of the ring. Well, I don't have a word, but I guess, comics, I guess you say that. I'm into that. I was product of my generation. I guess you could say kind of dorky.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, hey, you know what's funny is when I was a kid working in comic books and video games and all that stuff, you were just a dork. Nobody wanted to talk to you. Now it's kind of cool. Thanks, Big Bang Theory.
There you go.
But, yeah. And I guess you could say family man.
Did you happen to
my family? What's that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. Continue.
No. Go ahead.
How much of Raw did you catch last night?
Oh man, that was the first. And like I said, when you're doing this all the time, everybody's always like my friends. Or you watch it, and I was like, no, you kind of want to break from it when you've done it, you know.
Yeah.
And I tried this first pay-per-view I've bought in a long, long time. I decided to get Royal Rumble, and it was a festering turd. And then I thought, well, maybe it's going to be better. Wrestling season's here. It's WrestleMania, you know. So I tuned it in because supposedly CM Punk was supposed to be in. And for what I watched, it was pretty much the same festering crap that I watched at the Royal Rumble.
You know what's funny is last night the promo that Batista cut when he was talking about the WWE fan base. He was picking on comic books. Lo and behold, Batista picking on comic books, and he's supposed to be co-starring as Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy later this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard rumors that they're going to have Daniel Bryan work 2 matches, Triple H, and then the triple threat match at the end of the night. How you can have 2 heels go against each other for the heavyweight title and not put this guy in it that's been building steam like Stone Cold did 15, 16 years ago and not give him something, you know, oh, it might be his size. Well, how small is Shawn Michaels? Come on, I can do he's great at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people look at Daniel Bryan and they see, you know, I'm sorry, I've got to break it out like this, and sorry, Dusty. To me, Daniel Bryan is the American dream. I mean, he's not the biggest dog in the fight. He's not the strongest person in the ring. He is one of the faster people but he's also one of the smarter people to make the national scene. I mean, I was a huge fan I admired Bryan Danielson's work as the American Dragon before he stepped foot in WWE.
He's a great talent. Plus, everybody doesn't know this, but he was the trainer there in ROH for a while.
Exactly. I got a question. I've got a series that we do every once in a while on interviews. It's called the lightning round. These are the questions to which there is no wrong answer, and you always say the first thing that pops into your head. You up for it?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.P. Magnum now enters the lightning round. Iron Man or Green Lantern, which one are you?
Iron Man.
Where are you more afraid of showing up, the National Enquirer or TMZ?
Oh, the National Enquirer. TMZ's great marketing.
There you go. Which would you be more afraid of, boxing an octopus underwater or a shoot fight with Dan Severn's mustache?
I have to be underwater with an octopus. I cannot stand deep water.
Scarier place to work a match, nightclub or national TV?
Oh, nightclub. You don't even notice the TV.
I'm going to test your roots. Which would you rather play, violin or fiddle?
Oh, the fiddle.
Which is more fun? Which is easier for you to work, a computer or an Etch-a-Sketch?
Computer.
You've got a War Games match coming up. Who's your partners, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, or One Direction?
Oh, God, that was a hard one, man. I guess I'd have to go Backstreet Boys, because they're a little bit more manly than all the other three, I guess. I don't know.
What's your favorite reality show, non-wrestling?
Oh, Duck Dynasty by far.
Which would you rather own, Twitter or Facebook?
Oh, Facebook. Have you seen the stock?
Yeah, I have. Knowing that this person would never try to get even, who would you pull a prank on or a rib on, and what would it be?
Oh, God. It would have to be Adam Jacobs, because he's got the best reactions. And might be giving a little kid some ideas, but I don't know if you've ever remembered those snapping pops you throw down and they pop.
Oh, yeah.
If you get them and put them underneath the toilet seat, underneath the cushion, and you just slide it down real softly, and let somebody go in there and go to the bathroom, he gets them every time. Sits down, pow.
Which show would you be more afraid to end up on, Jerry Springer or Maury Povich?
It would probably be Maury Povich, because that would be kind of embarrassing, but I almost was on Jerry Springer one time.
We do live in the southeastern U.S. That doesn't surprise me. Your perfect weekend: a shopping trip with Lindsay Lohan, cooking lessons from Gordon Ramsay, or a bender with Charlie Sheen?
Oh, my God, bender with Charlie Sheen by far.
What is your ultimate I just couldn't help myself moment?
Oh, man. It was probably about a year or so ago when I was trying to teach this young guy, to what he was needed to be doing in the ring, and he decided to stiff me, and I apologized for it, and I just couldn't help myself but just do well, I'm not saying Benoit in the fact, funny, but you know how he used to chop like crazy. I beat the crap out of him. I just kept chopping the crap out of him, and then did the garbage stomp on him, because I just couldn't help myself.
What food can you not resist, even when dieting or cutting weight?
Oh, a good Philly cheesesteak, man. Or Italian food, man. That's my weakness.
That's my brother over there talking. Thank you very much. Other than Kermit or Miss Piggy, what's your favorite Muppet?
Oh, the critics, the guys up in the thing, the Gene Siskel, Robert Ebert,
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah, that was. I couldn't remember their names. Yeah, they're hilarious.
I have two good friends who come down to my gig on Friday nights at Buffalo Wild Wings Alabaster. I swear they do the same shtick as Statler and Waldorf do. Let's go for the Overdrive 5 real quick. Number 1, Doris Roberts or Betty White? Who has the better sex tape?
Never seen either one of them, but I'd probably have to say Betty White.
Who were the better super friends, Zan and Jana or Wendy Marvin and Wonder Dog?
Wonder Dog.
What is one question you're always afraid of being asked during an interview, and no, I won't ask it?
I've never really, there's nothing that really scares me. You know me, I'm brutally honest. Maybe that's why some people just don't like me in this business, but I just say what's on my mind. Don't ask me if you're afraid of the answer.
Pick an athlete from another sport you'd like to have trained to be your tag partner.
I'd say Brian Urlacher. He's still young.
If you weren't...
Or Ray Lewis.
Good choice on Ray Lewis, too. I like Urlacher and Lewis. If you weren't in pro wrestling, what major sport would you be playing in it? What position?
Football, tight end or defensive end.
And the wrap-up, if your career when your career and life story is made into a film, who plays the lead?
Ooh, that's a good one. Because he'd have to be a good-looking guy. It could be, they always, for some reason, everybody always thought I looked like, favored Matt LeBlanc. But he's a little too old. But whoever it is, I don't think they found him yet. Because you wouldn't be able to grasp the magnificent, which is Magnum, so.
Got a question for you. Oh, by the way, first, before I go anywhere, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, JP Magnum has successfully navigated and completed the, as it is truly known by Mark Mabo Bowman, my tag team partner on these shows, the Lightning Mike Quackenbush, Juice and Thunder and Lightning Liger Lightning Round. Okay, I can't do the sound effects. I screw those up every time. That's
I have
also
to take a deep breath on that one.
there. You
Okay.
go. This is me. You're talking to the Magic City Motor Mouth. Okay. I can still get a couple of words strung in concurrent sequence every once in a while. Just don't count on me to do it. Don't count on me to do it often. From your perspective, for the time that you've been a fan and in pro wrestling all the way across the board, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling?
Oh, that's easy. That would be Mr. Perfect, Ted DiBiase, Macho Man, and Steven Regal.
Cool.
Yes, and I did not mention Shawn Michaels. He's good, but, not my cup of tea. Those are the guys that I like, and if you watch them, they're great heels.
I got to do this. What kind of comic books do you get into?
Oh, the Incredible Hulk is the greatest. I think I've got almost every one of them except for this new series after they, Peter David left and they made him mad and he ruined the comic book there and they started it all over again after killing Betty. But hey, I digress.
Oh, no, that's cool, dude. Like I said, there's no wrong answers here. It's all about having a good time. If you were approached about starring in a motion picture that is going to be a remake of a classic, what would be your dream role?
I'd have to say it had to be something in 80s action movies because there was just something about 80s action movies like Die Hard.
Yeah.
The John McClane thing. Of course, my size, I wouldn't be going through air ducts. They'd have to figure something else out for me. But that would be a fun one to do.
The 3-2 pitch from me. Hypothetical or realistic situation. Show's wrapped up, rings torn down, your bag's packed, and you're ready to head for the car. And you get out the door, and this kid comes up to you. Nice, polite, respectful. Wants to know, how can he get into pro wrestling? Or says, I want to be a wrestler. What's the first thing you say to him?
Well, do like I did. Concentrate on your education first. And you can do your training and stuff while you're going to school and college and stuff like that. People are like, well, look at all the success they did. But, and people have had, and they didn't have to have their degrees in wrestling. But for as many people that make it, I mean, there's 80 people in WWE. Well, there's 80,000 or more out there trying to make it and try to fill those 80 spots. So, protect yourself so that if it doesn't happen and you tried your best, you have something to fall back on.
What has been the craziest time that you've had on a road trip going from one show to the next?
Well, I'd have to say anytime I was in the car with Chase Stevens, but we'll keep those stories to ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think those can even be edited for radio, dude.
No.
Because on Wednesday nights here on BR on the network, we've got the To Be Determined show, Wicked Nemesis, Tasha Simone, and Matt Denton. And you know that Tasha and Chase both talk, so you know that we've heard some stories about Chase on that show.
Oh, yeah. I can just hear him now.
Yeah, scary thought. There's some things that do not need to be made even into red tube movies. That's all
No.
I'm going to say. But what have you got coming up on the horizon? Where can people find you in the upcoming weeks?
Well, this week will be the first weekend I've actually took off for 6 months, so I'm actually just taking a break. I'm sore. I've been down under the weather, so I'm just taking a sabbatical, but I'll be back up in the Middle Tennessee area the next week around Manchester and Nashville. And then the next weekend we'll be in Illinois. We're doing some TV taping there. Bert Prentice has started doing some TV around about 5 or 6 states in that area. I cannot remember the TV station at this moment, but we started it a couple weeks ago, and we're going to do it at least once a month and just see where it goes, see if we can get the old territory thing back going around. So.
Coolness. Now, question, how can people keep track of you on social media? Can they find you?
Yeah, you can look me up as Jason Philip Magnum. I tried the JP Magnum thing, but apparently a fan had made a side of mine on Facebook, and they won't let me use JP. It shows that it's my nickname, but I had to make a full name before they actually put me on Facebook. But yeah, you can track me there. I just started a Twitter account, and it actually can say JP Magnum, but haven't been on there in a while with all this Master stuff and everything. It's kind of hard just to keep up with Facebook and lots, let alone, Twitter and everything else I've got going on now.
Brother, thank you for taking the time to come on tonight. It's been great being able to sit down with you and do the Tuesday night conversation.
Yeah, we just won't have. We don't need to wait so long next time, man. Give me a call and we'll hang out.
You got a deal on that one. And, of course, remember this. I say it in public. I say it in private. A, the door's always open. And B, if you've got something coming up on the horizon, a show that you want to try to get the word out about, shoot me a message. Let me know. We'll try to help get the word out for you.
I appreciate it, Eddie. You guys have a good night.
Folks, the one, the only, the magnificent JP Magnum has just gone beyond ringside in the Tuesday night conversation. Hang with us. We're going to the break, and we'll be back in 5. This is Back to Basics.
This is Bullet Bob Armstrong. I'm Southern born, Southern bred, and I never miss beyond ringside.
Hi, this is Ozzy Osbourne. For many years, you know I've had a drink problem, and I'm trying to battle that problem every single day. But one thing I don't drive my car when I'm drinking. I get someone to drive me. Do not drink and drive. It's the stupidest thing. If you drink, just don't drive. Not only are you going to hurt yourself, you may hurt some other person, and you wouldn't want that on your conscience, would you?
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Welcome back in Tuesday night, March 4th. Beyond Ringside goes back to basics. Very special thank you to the magnificent JP Magnum for coming on board with us this evening. Always a pleasure. Been a while since I've had a chance to really sit down and talk to JP. And you heard the commentary that he was making early in the interview. He had been on with me one time before when I was hosting the dedicated Global Championship Wrestling GCW radio product. And this was actually one of the first times that he's been able to come on one of the Beyond Ringside branded products. Glad to have him finally able to on the BR product. And definitely glad to have him in for the Tuesday night conversation. Like to welcome back good friend Baron Von Awesome Justin Rosenberg. What's up, buddy?
Not much. Just lived about 30 minutes of my life since the last time we talked. So.
Now, you said that there was a part of Raw that you really wanted to go over.
Oh, not necessarily Raw. Although, if you want, the crowd died last night, and you were right to point that out earlier. Sheamus and Christian killed it. I don't know if you noticed that.
I don't.
They killed it. They killed the crowd.
Can you blame it on Christian, or can you blame it on Sheamus, or can you blame it on the booking all the way across the board?
I think that you had the crowd at a fever pitch. Like you said, you brought out Heyman, and he had a very, very well constructed promo. And then you brought out, who else did you bring out at that point? You brought out the Usos, and the crowd went crazy. Then you had Cesaro, and the crowd went crazy. And then you had the Shield Wyatt match. The crowd went crazy. And then you had Sheamus and Christian, and we'd seen it like a week ago, and we're not terribly invested in either of them because anytime Christian has a match or just excited that he can actually make it to the ring and not get jumped on the way down, thus nullifying his attempt at a match, the crowd just died. I mean, no one was interested in that match.
I really think that ADR and Dolph Ziggler got a better reaction than Christian and Sheamus. Now, what was the basic gist of the reaction inside the Allstate Arena during the Christian ADR match?
People were booing 2 counts because we wanted the match to end.
Is it because it was ADR? I know that's a pointed question, but I'm asking you from your...
ADR or Christian?
ADR Ziggler.
ADR Ziggler was over. I get into this argument all the time that, you know, they said about Daniel Bryan that, oh, if he wins the title, it's just the flavor of the month. When he wins the title, people will turn on him like they turned on Zack Ryder, which is beyond comprehension if he gets thrown into the mix. And Dolph Ziggler. Like, we turned on Dolph Ziggler. I was at Payback in Chicago. Ziggler and ADR for the title. They pulled off a double heel. They pulled off a double turn. You know how impossible it is to pull off a double turn if people aren't invested?
There you go.
I mean, it's impossible. So don't tell me that people turned on Ziggler. Ziggler might not be over in another town, but next to Punk and Bryan, he's the guy. He steals shows in Chicago. There were Ziggler chants throughout the night before he got in the ring and while he was in the ring. He's over. And I also thought, by the way, what they did with Aaron Paul was brilliant.
I'm never really a big fan of the celebrity guest stars getting somewhat involved in storylines, but basically due to the fact that Ziggler's really not involved in a storyline, he was involved in a match more than anything else. And I've got to sit back and say this, and you can agree or disagree from your perspective. My ears are open. The crowd didn't turn their backs on Dolph Ziggler. In my book, it's the factor that the front office turned on Dolph Ziggler and took him away from the crowd. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you're right. Dolph Ziggler doesn't get cheered as loudly or as often anymore because he doesn't wrestle on TV. And when he wrestles on TV, it's a 5-minute squash match.
I'm also going to add Zack Ryder to that mix because up until the reason, let me get this out. You're going to have fun with this. Remember the storyline when he was best buddies with John Cena and you had all the stuff with Eve Torres and
Remember, I was there.
Yeah, I know. But the ensuing storyline around Zack Ryder basically entailed his destruction from the main cast of Raw and pushed him back to a relegated status. And then so you see where I'm going with this.
See where you're going with it. It drives me nuts when people say we turned our back on Zack Ryder. To begin with, the entire fan interaction with Zack Ryder was never to see him in the main event. That's a goofy, cheesy, silly, ridiculous gimmick. Okay? That's not a main event gimmick, and that's fine. But you know what? The mid-card at the time was nothing. And to be honest with you, still really isn't much of anything, as Dean Ambrose is still carrying around the U.S. title for no other reason than to have a prop. I mean, it's a part of his costume at this point. He doesn't defend it. You mean to tell me that Zack Ryder, who made himself, without TV time, got a fan following without TV time, and he couldn't get into the mid-card back in 2011 when everyone said Cody Rhodes is having this great IC title run, even though he never defended the belt? That's all people wanted. They wanted Zack Ryder's push to go from not on TV to being on TV, and the WWE obliged. And this is where the WWE really irritates me. They've got this glass ceiling, Eddie. They've got this glass ceiling where they're comfortable with your star getting just big enough. But if you try to exceed that, they won't let you. So with Zack Ryder, we're straining for him. Let this guy be on TV. He's entertaining. Yeah, not main event level, but, your mid-card sucks, so put him on. And they oblige, and they give him the title. And then what? He wrestles in mixed tag team matches with Eve. And then he gets hunted down by Kane. He loses his IC title match in a squash match, never defends it at a pay-per-view, never takes it into a pay-per-view. He's written off TV for the better part of 2 months. And then when he comes back, he's only back there to help push the character of a mediocre diva. He basically, his entire persona on TV was used, his popularity was used to enhance the Kane Cena angle and make Eve a heel. And everyone says we turned our back on it. It's beyond me. They absolutely crushed his momentum and then took him off TV and then took his YouTube show. There's no outlet to see Zack Ryder for 2 years, but we turned on him. Go on.
Could this be also partly due to the fact that, note, Ziggler got as high as he did. Swagger did it last year before Swagger got busted. Ding dong. Ziggler's only problem was he had 2 concussions inside of 6 weeks.
Yes.
Look, didn't they fire Ken Anderson at the behest of Randy Orton for being too fragile?
Among other things.
Yeah, but I think the factor of his injury record, gee, Randy, take note, had something to do with it. But see, here's the thing, and this go ahead.
I'm sure that had a part in why they weren't crushed by the decision. I was never a Kennedy fan, and I've said this from day one. I've said this since the day he left. I can't think of anything that guy ever said outside of Kennedy. Everyone says he's great on the mic. I don't remember anything he ever said.
True. I mean, people are still quoting Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, and a lot of others. Sometimes they can try to quote what the Ultimate Warrior would say, but that's kind of easy to do. Okay.
The Dark Overlords have come to the Earth, and the Warrior fanatics. I mean, just start spewing ridiculousness, and you can get a Warrior promo in there. But yeah, Kennedy never did it for me. I don't know what happened to Ziggler. Yes, he had the 2 concussions, but that guy, I've never been a believer that he's a world title guy. I think he oversells to it, and it's detrimental. You know, when a guy like Daniel Bryan can throw Dolph Ziggler into the 5th row, that's a problem, because now I think less of Dolph Ziggler in terms of ring psychology. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I think he overdoes it, but there's no reason that guy shouldn't be on TV every week. None.
See, I was a huge fan of the push that Ziggler got for the longest time. And lo and behold, when he had the concussion, it's like, oh God, this can't be good. This is not going to sit well. He is not going to get the hero's return.
Nope.
And I fault WWE creative, because here's the thing, and this is where I'm going to run with this for a second. WWE creative, which of course is an oxymoron.
At this point.
Not a redundancy. It's more of a paradigm, or a paradox, or an oxymoron. Take your pick.
Or an accident.
Or an accident. There you go. They can't seem to write storylines for more than 3 people or 4 max at a time.
No.
And
nope. And that's where Punk's gone.
And here's the scoop for me. And this is something that I get heat on every once in a while. And you know something, everybody has their opinions and I have mine. For as much as Vince brings in television writers, movie scripters, movie writers, and directors to try to help create storylines and interweave them, he can't get the right mix of people, because these people are not wrestling-oriented people for the most part.
That's definitely a problem.
Well, here's the thing. Remember, what was it? When Edge was out with an injury one time, Stephanie invited him to sit in on a creative meeting, and Edge was handed a stack of storyline probabilities and went through, I think it was like 19 going, sucks, blows, horrible, never going to make it. And apparently ticked off Stephanie during that particular segment or that run. And this was behind the scenes part. I mean, that made the rounds on the web circuit. But the thing about it is, and they never, I don't think Vince wants to have a regulation television show somewhere in his library that will get him an Emmy. And I don't think he thinks he can do it, or I think that he doesn't think that he can do it using wrestling people.
I don't know where the WWE got the actually television writers. I know they tried it in WCW in the early 90s and it failed miserably. This is pre-NWO, when it was just absolute garbage and unwatchable, which it was by the end as well. But it's never worked. It's never worked to bring in TV writers, because TV writers don't write for live audiences. On top of it, TV writers have trained actors, and the WWE guys are far from that.
Well, and one thing that really just tickles me, for the second consecutive week, or second week out of 3, I'm trying to remember the exact scripting, John Cena made a comment that all roads go through him for the Stars of Tomorrow.
He said that last night.
Yeah, but he also said it previously, too. It was either last week or week before on Raw.
Oh, my God. I remember when he said that last night, and it felt like, whoa. Like, it was the most heelish I remember him not being in a long time.
Yeah, and of course he was doing his little thing about the Wyatt family, and we're still trying to figure out, are they going to come public with the fact that it was a groin pull, or was it the fact, because it's, okay, it was 2 weeks ago as well as last night. Thank you, Bandit. I really have to sit back and wonder how much Cena might actually be a part of creative right now for him to actually make a comment that ballsy.
never disliked. He wins matches because he's the top guy. I don't think it's like I don't know. Like I struggle with him because I don't think he's got that Triple H, with the shovel where he's not the very guy to keep his top spot. So because of that, I don't know that he has that kind of ego to write that in for himself. Or even though he doesn't have the title and he's not in the title picture and he's not going to be the main event of Mania, that he has to remind people that he's the guy. I always felt like, well, I mean, seriously, you guys know I'm the guy, right? Like, do I need to say it? He doesn't. He is. So, I don't know, maybe that was just WWE's way of doing it, because I've always gotten the opinion of him that he's just kind of a good soldier, like, he'll just do whatever they tell him, like he's a lapdog.
I don't have Cena anywhere near lapdog status. I think he's probably, I have John Cena as the son-in-law Vince wishes he had.
I just mean, like, in the sense, like, okay, boss, you want me to go do that? Okay. Like, and they're always going to put him on top.
Well, lo and behold, you have to, I mean, even I have to respect the moments where John Cena will actually, over the last 6 months, break out a new move or actually bring back a move from his prototype days.
Two things about that. Number one, this goes back to your point about the writers, and this is where I think they've actually done a very, very good job over the last, at least since the Royal Rumble, and maybe before that. But Raw really is more in-ring wrestling action right now.
Thank God.
Like, the Attitude Era was fantastic for its Crash TV because it was interesting, it was new, and they had no limits of where they could go with it. There was nothing off limits. Okay? And then they went to the PG era, and they kept the same format, but they couldn't go anywhere. So it was, like, really aggravating, feeling like you were watching the same show with a censor. And finally, over the last, I don't know how long it's been, but I started noticing a couple months ago, it's all in the ring. And because of that, Cena's been fantastic in the ring. I don't know if his problem has been that he's only gets like 5 to 10 minutes on Raw during his match, so there's only so much that you can do.
Or so much you can butcher.
Match. But he's been great.
I will have to agree. And a lot of it depends on who he works. That is the easy way to say it. It all depends, in my opinion, on who the hell he works.
Maybe. I mean, it's tough to say because, Cesaro is great in the ring. Orton, for all of his flaws, and there are plenty of them, is actually really good in the ring. And he's worked with guys. He's only worked with guys that are good in the ring, so it is tough to say otherwise. If it's because of them or whatnot.
But do me a favor. As we're hitting the road, and I'm going to bring you back in the closer we get to WrestleMania. If I had my way, I'd fly your happy butt down here and you'd be going in studio, either that or Buffalo Wild Wings.
I told you I will be in on March 28th.
Really? No, you didn't tell me that part. I missed that.
Sox.
I missed that part. What?
You said when I came on here, like, when are you coming back to Birmingham? I said, end of the month.
I missed that part. It didn't sink in. I'm brain dead DJ every once in a while. Taking one too many chair shots to the head over the years. And some were actually in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Or at least beside a ring. Yeah, we shall not mention the White Sox organization at this particular point in time, at least not from my perspective. You can mention it from yours anytime you want to.
All right, Barron's White Sox. Is it Regions Field or Park? I don't remember.
It's Regions Field now.
All right, Regions Field, March 28th. There, that was my plug.
There you go. So are we officially getting you back in Birmingham for an extended period of time, or what?
No, you're getting me back in Birmingham for like 3 days.
We're doing lunch.
Send me a car. I won't have one.
There you go. Yeah, can't count
on
me.
Can I get my Daniel Bryan rant?
Yes, go with it.
Raleigh back.
Go with it.
My Daniel Bryan rant stems from that same glass ceiling that I talked about with Ziggler, where his star just started to shine, and he had the concussion. Or with Zack Ryder, who started to shine a little bit brighter than they were comfortable with it shining. So, obviously they crushed him. And it goes into the CM Punk thing, where CM Punk's star started to really, really burn brightly around the time he called Triple H a doofus. And then the WWE said, not only are we not comfortable with that, but you're going to be a tag team partner with Triple H, and you're going to say that you like him and respect him. You know, thus killing any momentum that CM Punk had moving forward for the remaining, you know, for the next year, even though he held the title. So what the WWE likes to do is they like to make you feel like they're giving you what you want. But the thing is, we don't oftentimes realize what part of what we want we like. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect
sense. We know
sense.
we want it, but we don't know why we want it. There are certain aspects that make us want something and make us like it. And oftentimes, they give us the finished product. This is what you want, this is what you get. But they strip it, and we don't realize it until it's over, that they're stripping it of the parts of it that we like, that we invested in. And that's what they're doing with Daniel Bryan right now, and that's why it's so frustrating. That's why the Triple H match is absolutely atrocious. It seems logically booked, right, Eddie?
Yeah, okay, I've said this on...
In the sense that Triple H has been the one screwing Daniel Bryan since SummerSlam. Okay, you screwed me, now I'm coming after you. It makes sense in that regard.
Because they were doing the same thing with CM Punk, so they had it where it could be a coin toss. And remember, the inside track was it was supposed to be Punk Triple H, and Punk wasn't going for the idea. And lo and behold, Punk went on sabbatical, and from there they pushed Daniel Bryan into that spot. And guess what? In the course of 1 week, he managed to polish up the turd, which was the possibility of a match between him and Triple H. But by the same token, those of us who have followed the situation is like, oh God, he's being railroaded into this crap.
He is being railroaded into this crap, and I'll get to that. First to CM Punk, who I do not believe left, and then they were forced to put Daniel Bryan in the match. Yes, it was supposed to be CM Punk and Triple H. My thought process has always been, Royal Rumble happens, WWE realizes we can't put Bryan in a match with Sheamus, that's not big enough. Well, where are we going to put him? Let's put him in a match with Triple H. Hey, Punk, Bryan's in, you're out, you got Kane. Punk says, I quit. That's what I think happened. And if anyone thinks that CM Punk all of a sudden at the end of January finally realized that he wasn't getting the main event spot at WrestleMania this year and walked out because of that, I think that's an insult to Punk. Everyone else knew he wasn't getting the main event spot in October.
Yeah.
But all that said, from a logical standpoint, you can see why Daniel Bryan and Triple H make sense. Don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Just from a storytelling standpoint, yes, Punk had the inside track, and Bryan has replaced him, but it makes sense going back to SummerSlam that Bryan would go after Triple H. But what does it accomplish? What does it accomplish? There's two routes you go because Bryan has to win, doesn't he? I mean,
if he doesn't,
can he lose?
If he doesn't win, you will see a massive drop in the ratings the following night on Raw, and you will probably have you'll probably end up with a hijack show from the crowd that night.
We're going to end up with a hijack show from the crowd that night anyway. It's the night after Mania. I mean, how do you not let him win and let 75,000 people do the yes chant? I mean, are you out of your mind not letting him go over in that match?
Well,
that said,
there's still a rumor floating around that he may end up working 2 matches because a lot of people want to see the stipulation put on the factor that if he beats Triple H in the first, which they need to go ahead and just say, let that be the leadoff match. And then if Bryan beats Triple H, it becomes a 3-way dance for the title. And because, I'm sorry, you're going to have 70,000+ people basically booing Randy Orton and Dave Bautista out of the building because Randy Orton, God love him. I respect the fact that he's actually gotten better in the last couple of weeks. But the fact of the matter stands, Dave Bautista is horrible in the ring. He is slow. He is pathetic. He gasses up at the drop of a hat. He is horrible. Go ahead.
You are taking it too far with Dave Bautista. Yeah, 75,000 people will hate the main event at WrestleMania if it's Randy Orton and Dave Bautista. There's no question. Okay? But if you think that 75,000 people are going to be shitting all over that match for an extended period of time, then you haven't seen a Dave Bautista match, which can't go more than 3 minutes. So they don't have much time to really shit on it.
And allow me to correct you one little thing right there. It is not Bautista, it's not Bartista, it's Barftista.
It's Bautista.
No, Barftista. I like that better.
Funny. That cracks me up.
What, Bautista?
Yeah.
Yeah, just it makes me think. Well, first off, he's too tan to be a ghost.
Oh, he's terrible. He looks like a turtle.
Dave Baturtle.
His head is shrinking into his shoulders, and it's just weird. But no, I've heard the Daniel Bryan stipulation with Triple H, and then he wins, gets a title match, and that's great, and that's a possibility. And to be honest with you, they do need to do something to the main event. I do think what they'll do to the main event is they just won't close with it. That said, I think Daniel Bryan wins the title the next night. I think he beats Triple H, and then he challenges Bautista, who's going to win that match for some reason. He challenges Bautista. Bautista gets hot-headed, accepts it, and then Daniel Bryan wins the title because that after Mania crowd is something special.
Do you
and to give them another title change would be huge.
Wait, Justin, love you like family, dude. Do you honestly think that the ego of Dave Bautista is going to let them make him do the honors to Daniel Bryan the night after Mania?
To be 100% honest, I don't like Bautista. He mentioned something a couple of weeks ago, and he was absolutely right. When Daniel Bryan came into the company 4 years ago now, they did have a match, and that match probably should have been a squash match given Daniel Bryan standing in the company and Dave Bautista standing in the company, and it wasn't.
Bautista.
I don't think Bautista necessarily cares if he's holding the title so long as he's wrestling in the main event.
Because he gets his WrestleMania moment, he goes over with the championship at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome down in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the Big Easy. And actually, it's because of that main event that I'm not going to the show. I will spend my weekend in New Orleans at WrestleCon.
Ooh, I would go to Raw if I was there. I would go to Raw.
I don't know.
All this said, Eddie,
I would go to Raw.
What does Triple H do for Daniel Bryan?
Say what?
Well, what does Triple H do for Daniel Bryan? And I'm going back into my rant. I'm going to finish it off.
Go with it.
They say that it makes sense that Daniel Bryan needs to overcome Triple H. No, he doesn't. The part of this program that we've invested in is Daniel Bryan trying to overcome Triple H. Okay, if in 1998 Vince McMahon suddenly said, Steve Austin, you got the best of me, and I'm going to let you go on your merry way and hold that title, and God bless you, do you think anyone would have remained invested in that program with Steve Austin? No. Everything would have died. People didn't want to see Austin win the title. They needed to see it from time to time to know that he could overcome. But what they wanted to see was who would go over this week, Austin or McMahon. How would Austin overcome whatever obstacle McMahon put in front of him? That it was this cat and mouse game between the two for such an extended period of time is what we invested in. And that's the same thing that needs to happen with Triple H and Daniel Bryan. Having this match at WrestleMania, if Daniel Bryan goes over and overcomes Triple H and Triple H moves aside, Daniel Bryan's going to win the title. When he wins the title, no one's going to care because there's no obstacle in his way anymore. That's how they're going to kill his momentum. And people are going to stop being invested, and then the WWE will come back, he'll drop the title, they'll throw him back in the mid-card, and they'll say, told you so. This guy is exactly what we told you he was. Because they're killing the investment before they give you what you think you want. I've thought about this.
Think. There is the word that a lot of people do not take into consideration. Because I have said this, and think about this for a second. There's that word again. I made the statement during Seg 1 earlier that I wasn't going to get the network until the day after Mania because I don't want to contribute to the factor of probably one of the worst WrestleManias that it will have occurred during my lifetime. I'm 48 years old. This is WrestleMania 30, and therefore the numeric difference is still the active number of brain cells that I have left.
Contributing to the fact I paid good money to go to maybe the worst WrestleMania of all time. I think I feel.
I mean, and then this is where I'm going to be the shameless shill for a hot second because I want everybody to understand this. You heard me make the statement. When I go to New Orleans, I'm going to WrestleCon because Saturday night, part of WrestleCon, independent wrestling super show, as they call it, featuring matches from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Combat Zone Wrestling, and talent from ROH, include Jeff Jarrett, Masato Tanaka, Chris Hero, Colt Cabana, Kevin Steen, Joey Ryan, Candice LeRae, Luke Hawx, Cassidy Riley. On just the super show itself. Tell me something. Now, we know the word's gotten around about Vince and the deal with the Santa Clara people saying nobody can book a show at a publicly or privately owned facility in Santa Clara while WrestleMania is here because I'm just a whiny little bitch and I want to be the center of attention. Hi, Vince. How you doing? You ain't paying me. Shut up. You want to pay me? I'll kiss your ass. Actually, I'll kiss Steph's ass if you pay me. Of course, I'd kiss Stephanie McMahon's ass for free. I don't care. And
that's not funny.
Say what?
It's gonna say. You're gonna be paid for that?
Would I get paid to kiss Stephanie McMahon's ass? Yes, I would.
No. I mean, like, you'd only do it if you were paid.
If I were paid, I'd act like I enjoy it more than I normally would. You know me. I'll fake it like a hooker on dollar days. If I kiss her ass like I want to, Triple H will sit back and go, can I take lessons?
I'm not even going to get into Triple H and his sex life.
There you go. We want it now. Let's work around that part. Look,
he does go both ways, as we learned at King of the Ring '98.
The fact of the matter stands, I agree wholeheartedly with the factor of the way that Daniel Bryan's character has been shifted around. That is why the biggest mistake that they make, and if you were sitting with me in studio last night while I was watching Raw, you would have heard me scream, go to the wide shot, go to the wide shot, go to the wide shot. Because when you have the Allstate Arena, 70% of which is doing the yes bit.
100%, and I have video. I'll send it to you.
I was watching different live shots, different wide shots. There were points where it was 70% of the crowd.
Okay.
And there were times when it was more. But consistently, 70% was doing it. They can't ignore that forever. And the fact of the matter stands, if they are going... But see, here's the thing. Their so-called creative team has the ability to crap on somebody at the drop of a hat. They can turn somebody's character at the drop of a hat. And it really just irks me to the simple fact that they can't get past their own egos. Triple H can't stand the fact that more people cheer Daniel Bryan now than booed him during the 90s.
Daniel Bryan is more over right now than any wrestler not named Austin or The Rock.
About to say.
In the last 25 years.
Or Hogan in the 80s.
25 years.
Okay.
That's 90.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And
the thing is this. He's so far above number 2 with Punk gone now. He's got more distance between himself and number 2 right now than any wrestler in WWE, in the modern history of the WWE.
You know, if John Cena's... Go ahead.
Go on. No, you go.
If John Cena has this stroke that he thinks he does, of course, remember, he was one of the driving forces for taking this thing PG.
Yes, and that's why he gets booed.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, he still gets booed. But the fact...
No, that's fine. Oh, you think even without. Go on, though.
Yeah, well... The majority of real wrestling fans will boo him because he's not what he once was. He works a Flair match. That's it.
That's a name now.
You
get that from Ole Anderson?
No, it's a Flair match. Basically, it's a formulaic. Formulaic laid out match where he's going to get his gimmicks in. Yeah, I know. But for those who don't quite grasp,
Ole Anderson used to say that about him.
Yeah, I know. Still does, too.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, I know that they could take, if they could get past their own egos. And one of my tag team partners on the Saturday Showcase, Hitman Big Daddy Cool Ryan Adcock, is a huge, still to this day, fan of the Attitude Era, like most people with active brain cells count in at least double digits are, who remember the Attitude Era and went through it the first time. But see, here's the thing. I'm segueing for a hot second. I want to cover this before we start going to the top of the hour break. Actually, before we go for last call. The Attitude Era, which you and I both talked about, was and I hate to use this word, but it's the truth. It was a magical time because you had so many different personalities pushed to the top. Even the C part of the card could talk on a microphone almost as well as the B, which could talk as well as the A.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, because...
You know what it is.
Go with it.
They were allowed to.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't have a choice. They had their backs against the wall. They were in competition with WCW for viewers, and they couldn't afford to hold a guy back simply because it wasn't their guy. He didn't have the look. They needed to do whatever they could to keep the viewer, and so they always gave the viewer what they want regardless. Were we on the same page?
Yes. We're damn sure on it. Hell damn ass. And in this era, you won't get that level of mic skill because you're not with your back against the wall like you should be. Vince and everybody at FCW, NXT sits back and goes, wait a minute. Let me, before I go that route, I'll go this route. Do you realize the critical acclaim that NXT Arrival got the other night on the network?
Yeah, because it didn't seem like it was all one voice writing it.
And lo and behold, they did in one night what WWE programming in the mainstream level hasn't been able to do in years. And that is get and keep everybody's attention, and everybody went for the roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm. And if you actually could watch it, which if you had the network you really couldn't, it was fantastic. Eddie, you don't know this. I don't think I've ever told you this. I write sketch comedy over at Second City.
Oh.
Okay? And I'll tell you our process. Okay? I write it, and then we have all the writers, a bunch of writers, and we do a simple table read.
Right.
And we talk about what needs to be expanded, what needs to be taken back, what does work, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then you rewrite it. And then, because I don't know if you know how many actors we have at Second City, but it's absurd the amount of talent that's there.
I know.
We bring in our own actors, and they not only act it out, but they improvise it. And then you say what they did that you liked. And then they tell you what about the character they played they liked, what didn't work for them, what does work, what needs to be worked, what can be expanded. There's a whole process that involves the talent so that you can get unique voices to each different character in every sketch.
You forget
see what works.
You forget one of my...
And they don't do that.
You forget one of my favorite shows in the last 20 years was Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
You forget that. I never actually watched that.
Dude, if you got Amazon Prime, watch it.
Is that Matthew
Perry, Bradley Whitfield, Ada Field, Sarah Paulson, D.L. Hughley, Ed Asner was on it, Steven Weber was on it. So I understand.
Asner's an old Second City guy.
Exactly. The show only failed because Lorne Michaels didn't give his kiss ass of approval on it. And he felt...
It's weird. He gives his ass kiss approval to everything that happens with Second City people. Everything.
Because everybody wants to end up on Saturday Night Live where they might make six figures.
Yeah, and you know what's weird is I don't think... outside of Cecily Strong, I don't know that I can't think of another Second City alum that's on the show right now, which is odd. Usually when the show's great, it's filled with Second City.
Look, one of my favorite shows of all time still also was SCTV back in the day.
Oh, yeah, with Harold Ramis and all those guys.
Oh, God, yes.
That was...
Rick Moranis and all that entire bunch.
Yeah, that was good stuff. We can keep going. John Candy, Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy.
Yes. Remember it quite well. Now, and that's the thing about it. And here's something that a lot of people don't quite grasp, and we've talked about this before here on the BR Network. Focus grouping. If you don't believe for a hot second Vince McMahon uses focus groups on Raw and SmackDown Main Event and Saturday Morning Slam, you're crazy. Or Superstars even.
Doesn't use it correctly, though.
Huh?
Doesn't use it correctly.
Of course not. Because
you can't do a focus group on a segment when over the course of the last 10 years you've alienated your fan base to the point that only a quarter of them remain.
You haven't really... Yeah, you have alienated them. You've alienated them in a certain sense, but you've also sat back and you've insulted them, not only verbally, but intellectually.
But at this point, the people he's insulted are the people that refuse to leave. He can do anything to the people that stayed, and they won't leave. Anything. He's proven it. I mean, everyone last night leaving the Allstate Arena said, I'm never coming back. I'm not kidding. That was like the comment, I'm done. They'll all go back. I said, you just need to tick the box office or payback windows, and there's a line outside the door of people that are never coming back. The problem is that he needs to stop. He needs to stop looking and seeing what Daniel Bryan segments do. And he needs to just go with it and see if it changes anything.
Look, in a perfect world... Well, wait a minute. We're talking about pro wrestling and sports entertainment. There is no such thing as a perfect world.
They're not even synonymous anymore.
Nope, because of the fact, once again, Vince McMahon is writing a television show. He wants an Emmy so bad. He has a hard-on for it. He wants to find a way to get an Emmy. I don't care if it's for John Cena as Best Actor. I don't care if it's... really... It could be, Daniel Bryan for Best Supporting Actor. Since he is only a B-plus player, he would get the Best Supporting Actor nod. I mean, Triple H, of course, I guess, I don't know what he would be nominated for. And this is the sad part about... Huh?
Nothing. What are you saying?
No, but think about it, though. I mean, there's a reason for everything, and Vince wants to produce... And this is the other thing. Yes, he wants a situation comedy. Yes, he wants a dramedy. Yes, he would love to have a drama. Yes, he wants a variety show. That's why he brings in Paul and Betty White and Bob Barker and,
Money helps doing that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're not bringing in these people to draw additional ratings.
No.
They're bringing these people in to try to build a crossover audience in television. And I agree, a couple of sentences later, he'll never get it. Because the thing about it is, at this point in time, he doesn't get it. Let's take it home. Justin, throwing to you. Last call and shameless plugs, dude.
Go Barons. And Second City.
There was another shameless plug you threw out there a little while ago. Regions Field.
Regions Field.
Care to tell everybody?
Bloom.
I'm going to teach him the methodology for last calls all over again. If there's a concept or a thought that you want to put into play one more time, feel free, go for it. With no fear of reprisal, just remember hell damn ass.
Daniel Bryan against Triple H has no point. Logical as it may seem, storyline purposes, as well as they've constructed it, it can't do anything. It can't do anything other than kill the momentum of what happened when Daniel Bryan finally wins the title, and where do they take it from there? If he's already overcome Triple H and conquered him, there is no obstacle to be put in front of him when he has the title, and he will fail as a champion.
You said that you're on. You now got a Twitter address running for you. Actually, you've had one for a while. I just forgot what it was because I follow you on one name and I didn't have you on the other one. Give everybody where they can find you on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, it's JRO_27. And then Facebook, they can't find me.
There you
I mean,
go.
I'm there.
The short version for yours truly, coming out of last night as we continue on the Raw to WrestleMania, I have used Evil's word lackluster. And unfortunately, that's the word that I'm going to stick with for right now because anything else would have me putting forth more effort to come up with a word than WWE Creative has been putting into their storylines. And that's the truth. They have the biggest show 5 weeks away. If not less than that. Less than that. And I don't think they realize the hole that they've dug themselves into. And if they don't realize it, they got a big problem. I want 30 to be the biggest ever. But understand this. I'm a realist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. They have screwed up. They have screwed up the casting and direction of people who can make this work. And they have banked on what they want to call larger than life. The era of larger than life should be put on hold for the era of what works. They should realize it's not the fact that people don't like Batista. It's the fact that nobody cares. Do I fast forward through a Batista match? Yeah, didn't do it last night because it was Daniel Bryan, and then they gave us the most horrid ending. I thought I was watching TNA again. I genuinely thought I was watching TNA for a second because you had all the different run-ins and all the different screw-overs and everything else to try to drive him down. God. TNA can't learn their lessons either. Don't even get me started on that because we'll be here another freaking hour. But they need to figure it out. And they need to figure it out fast. Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker is not going to save WrestleMania. Randy Orton and Batista is not going to save WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan, Triple H is not going to save WrestleMania. It's a Band-Aid for a badly hemorrhaging situation. They got 4 weeks. Let's see where it goes from here. Quick rundown. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern, you will find the To Be Determined show here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. The Wicked Nemesis, Tasha Simone, Matt Denton and Company on Wednesday nights. Thursday night, 7 p.m., the return of Cause and Effect, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. The return of Cause and Effect and the Thursday night Radio Throwdown. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, the Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase. Yours truly, Robert Cosper and Ryan Adcock. And Sunday nights, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, 3:30 Pacific Time. The flagship, Beyond Ringside Live. Folks, catch me in person this coming Friday night. Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster. Looking forward to it. And you heard me go off about this on Facebook, but I didn't go off. I didn't do what I felt should have been done. I stopped myself. I would like to say thank you to everybody who had been coming to hang out with me down at Courtyard in Alabaster. It is the truth, the fact that I was told after I walked in the door to start doing setup that they were bringing somebody else in, and that person was on stage already playing. No prior notice. No email, no Facebook, no Twitter, no telephone, no smoke signal, no carrier pigeon. Nothing. I give them credit for a total lack of professionalism. But I wish them the best in their future endeavors. Hey, I hope Courtyard has a great run in Alabaster. I really do. I hold no ill will. irked about the lack of professionalism, but I hold no ill will. It doesn't do any good. Folks, FastEddieLane.com is the home site. BeyondRingside.com is the home site for the network. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and yes, that's still me over on Instagram at FastEddieLane. Thanks for playing. Aloha. Until next time, once again, want to say thank you to the magnificent JP Magnum for coming on board for the Tuesday night conversation. Thank you, of course, to tag team partner Mark Mabo Bowman. And Justin, don't be such a damn stranger.
You want to say something?
Yeah, right about there.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to work on your cue cards on this one, folks. This time I'll throw it to him for real for the bye-bye. For Baron Von Awesome, Justin Rosenberg. Say goodnight, Justin.
Good night.
Tell Kurt he can return a phone call every once in a while and actually bring his happy ass on the show. This is the Magic City.
I return mine either.
Yeah, I know. We've both been exercised. Thanks, Nick. Until next time, this is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Lane saying adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abasinia, and aloha means bye-bye. Join us next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, as we go back to basics on Beyond Ringside.